안녕하세요. Guys, it's Wit. The new swords are here, and if you want to farm for them, I'm going to tell you everything that I know so far since I've been grinding these doggone things forever. Anyway, know that everything I tell you will be based on my experience since the update of 1.3.6. First of all, do you need to have these swords? Hell no. Should you get these swords? Hell yeah. They may be trash and a pain in the doggone ass to grind for right now, but that is part of the game. And one thing you need to know for sure, a lot of weapons in the First Descendant are often really bad from the beginning, but eventually they will buff them and they may become significantly OP. That has been the trend, and I don't expect this to be any different for these two new swords. On the other hand, whether or not you like swords is a different story. All that being said, what is the best way to approach farming for these swords? First, make sure you complete the initial quest to unlock the Void Vessel medium-sized facility zone. This may not seem relevant, but I believe I should emphasize this. Now, when it comes to grinding in this game, you first need to be patient. And you do not need to do this in one day. Additionally, in this case, since these swords are ultimate weapons, you will need to grind 5 copies for each sword. If you want the maximum absolute power, that is. Alright, now that you know a little bit of info, should you grind normal or hard? Now, this all depends on you. I have tried both modes in both matchmaking and also in solo. The most important thing to keep in mind is what it takes to get the resources you are going to need to craft these swords. Specifically, the ultra-fine particle alloy, that's for the shadow swords. And also the Photon quantum crystal for the Deus Ex Manus sword. As it stands right now, it is fair to assume that it is going to take you more time to grind the resources than it is to get the swords parts. In my experience, that is. So, remember that. But if you know something different than what I'm saying here, then please let us know in the comment section. That would be most appreciative. That said, here's my suggestion. First, grind for the swords parts as much as possible. Then, reserve some game sessions for farming those resources, because they are going to be what's going to hold you back. Now, the best way, in my opinion, to farm these resources is to run the mission solo, if possible. Simply because right now, a lot of people, when you are in matchmaking, they may not wait for you to pick up those boxes. Therefore, in my opinion, doing this solo might be the most comfortable for a lot of people, because when I was doing this solo, I didn't have to worry about whether or not somebody's going to pull me forward, and I didn't have to worry about whether or not I am going to be able to open the boxes for the resources that I need. Now, everything I say here is just a suggestion, especially if you have a strong build that can solo the hard difficulty. I would definitely just do this thing solo. Now, talking about resources, let's talk about the containers. As far as which containers to farm, since there are so many of them, you need to focus on opening the special type of container and the experimental type of containers. The special one is going to be for the shadow swords, and the experimental one is going to be for the Deus Ex Manus sword. Now, be careful though, not to waste your keys on other types of containers, like the genetic information. And this one you don't want to open unless you are looking for fellows parts. And another thing I suggest is just also pick up the broken containers, because they are going to provide you some free resources. Now, when you are going through the missions, you might be wondering, where are the containers? I would say, do not worry about that. You don't need to memorize a location. But if you do want to memorize the location, that's fine too. However, if you play on controllers, for instance, just simply press down on your right analog stick. It will show you not only which direction to follow the mission, but it will also reveal the locations of the containers in the area near you. And also bear in mind the types of containers you will find in every run will be based on RNG. So it's not always going to be special or experimental. Therefore, pay close attention to when you have to use your decryption keys. Having said all of that, what can you do to make the grind easier for crafting these swords? First, use the target reward system, and I recommend that you target one part at a time for each sword. Now, you can do it whichever way that you want. So all you gotta do is just open the library, and then just go to weapon, and then just find this sword, whichever one that you want to target. Let's say, for instance, you want to target this one. Just click on it, and then find the parts that you want to target. So let's say, for instance, if I want to target this part, just click on acquisition info. So when you click on acquisition info, it's going to bring you here. And then just here, if you look at the screen, you can see that it shows you where you are going to find the parts. And you can just click this button right here to target it. So with controller, all you got to do is just press the right trigger. As you can see on the bottom, it tells you set target rewards. But if you are on mouse and keyboard, just follow the whatever button that you have to press. But it is not very hard, just target it. Now, once you look at the library page, and you can see whatever you target is going to be here. Now you can see right now I have two different parts here. One for the Shadow Sword and the other one is for the Deus Ex. So you can just do just one at a time if you want, or you can just do two, one of each. Or if you decide that you want to be brave, you can just put 4 pieces there. But I would highly recommend that you do it one at a time because it's going to be faster. Like, I have a few parts of these swords, but as you can see, the ones that I fail, this one right here, whenever I fail, so I get some progress. Right now, I'm at 60%, 40% more, then I am guaranteed to have this part right here. So this is a good way for you to help with the grind because you're going to need so many copies of this sword, so it is going to help. Now, second thing you need to do, just use the new sector exploration event for 2 extra parts. When you get the box, there's going to be a 25% chance for any of the parts to drop. Therefore, you will not know which one you're going to get. For instance, let me show you what I mean. I already grind the event, so if I go to the event page right here and the new sector exploration, and as you can see, you have all these things that you can do. They are weekly and daily, so you do your daily, but the weekly one, this one is going to give you one of those spoil box, and it's also going to give you another one here. So just do what it says, like 10 mission on hard difficulty, and then the other one, it doesn't matter. Then I would say just do it on hard, and then it's going to count for both. That's probably going to be the fastest way to do this, but you can do it however you want. Then you will get the box, and then now the box is going to go to your mail. So when you come to your mail and you're going to open it, and you're going to see it is right here. Now I already opened one of them, and I already know that once I click on this to acquire all attached items, one part is going to drop. I just don't know which one is going to drop. So if I look right here, as you can see, it says for every part you get a 25% chance for one of them to drop. Now I wish they had let us pick the one that we want, just like they did with the Descendant, but that is not the case. So I'm going to click on it, and as you can see, it dropped the blueprint. So if I go to my consumable tab, and you're going to see this is the one that just dropped, the Shadow Blueprint. So like I said, 25% chance for one of them to drop, and you don't know which one you're going to get. So that's the gist of that. So just make sure you complete this event. At least you'll get a chance to get one part and you can craft it. Now, the next thing you can do is the Sword Pass event. This event offers one crafted copy of the Shadow Sword and one crafted copy of the Deus Ex Mana Sword. Now, let me show you what I mean. So if we open our inventory menu and then just go towards the Battle Pass tab, and you can see the Sword Pass. So when you click on this event, and you know, the first is going to be a copy of the Deus Ex Manus. It is locked right now because you can either pay for it by going here where it says premium upgrade, and then it's going to tell you how much it's going to cost you, 1,000 calibers. And then if you want some extra levels, then you pay 1,001 80 caliber. So if you don't want to pay anything, just leave it alone. So what you need to do, just go to the challenge. So once you go to the challenge, you can see all these challenges right here, or they call them missions in the game. That's TFD style of calling things. So they call them missions, but they just challenges. So if you look at all these challenges, it shows you what you can do. And then if you complete those, we can see that it gives you EXP, and then it gives you the amount that it is going to give you. So if you want to go through them and see, okay, do I want to complete this and then do all that stuff, then you are good to go. So that is how you would make progress in this little pass, and without paying anything. And if you look at the progressive challenge, this is mainly about doing things with the sword. So until you get the swords, you will not be able to use any of these challenges. So your goal is to go with this part right here and complete as many as you can until you can just get to level 30 with this little battle pass, and you should be able to get a couple copies of the weapon. So as you can see, at level 1, you're gonna get a copy, and then at level 23, you're gonna get a copy for the shadow. So that's all there is to it. So it's up to you how you want to do this, whether you want to pay for it or whether you want to just go and do the challenges. Now, when it comes to grinding the mission, the faster the better. The more time you have left on the clock when you kill the boss, the more boxes options you are going to have, because they are percentage based. So if you have 4 boxes, you can see there are different type of percentage, and you can just go for whichever one you think is going to give you the biggest percentage. That way you have a better chance of getting the parts that you are looking for. Now, although that is not necessary, I would say if you want to have more time on the clock when you kill the boss, just make sure you always interact with those Vulgus beacon, and that way you can get more time left on the clock. At the end of the mission, that could be the difference between the amount of options you will have when opening boxes. It could be the 2-box option, the 3-box option, or the 4-box option. So obviously, the more box options you have, the better it is going to be for you, because you have more chances of getting the parts that you need. Now, I know that I said quite a bit, but I also know that is not everything. So if you have any tips, please do not hesitate to share them in the comment section. Finally, the last thing I want to say is do not underestimate this little content. Don't go in there as a glass cannon, because you might get dropped really fast. The boss jumps around and it can be quite annoying, but it is not that bad. And if you have low health, he will kill you. And therefore, add as much health as you can to your build. The more health you get, the more you are going to survive. So, I hope this helps. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next one.